Hello, hello, and welcome to week five of the Awaken program. I know. So we are officially I call this the halfway mark. And the reason being is because we're going to be really taking tonight to take stock. We've come through that healing phase and the self-discovery and the digging a little bit deeper. And that's where those parts, it might feel a little bit clunky. Have I done this? Have I done that? Have I done this? Because we've not really got anything to evidence what's been going on behind the scenes just yet. And from tonight moving forward is where we're going to be really starting to get our teeth into what is it you want. We were looking at the SMART goal last week, and we're going to then be looking around manifestation, law of attraction, your frequency. What does your vision and your current reality have in common? What shifts need to be made? Because if there is one thing, let me just see if I can. There we are, just for a moment. So if there is one thing that you will see for yourself as we go throughout, is there's one thing, setting a goal. So you could set any goal that you wish in the world, but if your belief system and your energy isn't a match to what you desire, it's going to come in for you when you become a match for it, vibrationally, energetically, and mainly up here. And that is a good thing, because imagine for a moment if you set a goal and then the next day it appeared. Exactly what you wish for, it appeared. And then the next thing you wanted something, it appeared. There would be zero growth. There would be not much fulfillment, because there'd be nothing to grow and move toward. You'd just be able to just have it there. Be such a different world which we live in. We wouldn't be going through our life lessons and growth and awakening which we are right now. So actually this is why, and you've no doubt, pop a little note in the chat if you've heard the quote, it's not about the goal, it's about who you become on the way to achieving the goal. Yeah, you can see the nods. And that is so true. And it isn't just a cute Instagram quote. This is a frequency, energetic, very life transforming, fact. And that's what we're going to be looking at over the coming 4 weeks. So tonight is our coaching circle. And what this means, so if you are watching this back on replay, make notes as you go. And I'm going to say, if you have missed this evening, feel free to either drop some notes or any questions you have into the Facebook group, or drop me a private message. And I will either jump on a live with you in the Facebook group, and I will invite you to join us. And the reason that I'm saying this, the reason that we're doing this tonight with the coaching circle, and we're not just going teach, implement, teach, implement, teach, implement, is it's so powerful, like we shared last week, to be able to share, put it out there, but also hear other people's journeys and stories, struggles and breakthroughs. So we are going to be getting interactive. We are going to be, so for some of you, you might be like, comfort zone. Good. This is what we want, because your goal, no matter what it is no doubt at the other end of a comfort zone. If it wasn't, you'd be comfortable, you'd probably be rocking around in it right now. So there's that for anyone who was watching back on replay. And of course, as the week goes on, any questions that come up, you can just throw a message in there and I am there for you. So first things first, let's awaken the learning state. Let's awaken and really begin to bring our brain and heart into coherence. So I'm just going to pop on. We're done with Beyonce now. Just going to pop on some nice, relaxing music. Here we go. And the purpose of this is to really ground you, leave anything that has been going on in your day, your week, whatever, at the door. See if we can begin to really shake off some of that energy. So this is where I'm going to invite you to sit back, get comfortable. I'm just going to welcome Pip. Pip, hello, hello. Perfect timing, perfect timing. Just about to put you into a nice, relaxing state. So we're going to awaken the learning state, get the brain heart into coherence. So as wonderful as it is to see you, if you wish to, you can keep your camera on, or for this, if you wish to, turn it off, get into a comfortable position. If you haven't already and you want to light your candle, now is the chance. This is all about us grounding, going within. Your day has no doubt had your energy pulled in different directions, thoughts, what you're doing action-wise. So let's really take the next few minutes to relax. So I'm going to invite you now to sit back, get comfortable. This is all about you. This is a chance for you to completely go within and relax. So just beginning now to take a few deep breaths in through the nose and out through the mouth. And if you can, give yourself the permission to sigh it out. Big inhale in and sigh it out through the mouth. We're just entering into a nice chilled learning state. And as you exhale on this next one, if you wish to, you can just loosen up the muscles around the neck, the shoulders, and just making sure that they are low down away from the ears. Place your hand, your left hand onto your heart and your right hand onto your stomach or around the solar plexus area. And again, with your eyes closed, just notice that sensation within the body as you inhale through your nose and slowly exhale out through your mouth as if you're blowing out a candle. Feel that air as it enters in through the nose. I would usually say cool air, but it may be warm air. In through the nose, and how it feels as you exhale and how it feels as it leaves your lips. Now see if you can tune into your heart space. With that left hand, if you wish, you can begin to tap around. You may be able to hear me do it. If you need to, open up your eyes just to see. But just begin to tap around the heart area. What we're doing here is we are really awakening that electromagnetic field. As we know, where focus goes, energy flows. So where we touch, what makes us turn around if we feel a tap on the shoulder. Your mind, your awareness is going to the heart. Place your hand once again onto it. Feel your heartbeat as you inhale through the nose, and this time send the breath down to the heart and out through the heart. In through the nose. Send the breath down, and if you wish, imagine a lotus flower opening up and that breath leaving the heart, awakening the energy within it. This is bringing your brain and your heart into coherence. It is aligning the frequencies between with the breath, with the use of your mind's eye. Take some more long breaths. If you wish now, imagine you're inhaling white light through your nose. And that's leaving out through your heart as pure love. And just really grounding where you are. Continuing those breaths in through the nose, out through the heart. Bring your awareness now to your feet. And just be at one with where you are in your current reality right now, wherever you are in your room, but also make peace with where you are right now in your life. That is as simple as setting an intention with, I surrender and I am at peace with where I am right now in my life. Feel the connection with your feet to the ground. And with that connection remaining, I'm just going to ask your unconscious mind if any suggestions, changes, internal shifts happen today. Are you open to taking them on consciously and unconsciously here tonight? Answer in your mind. Good. And in your own time, you can release your arms down onto your lap, open up your eyes, and take your gaze around 45 degrees above eye level, almost as if your eyes are just in line with what we would either call between the brows or the third eye. And pick a point on the wall now. Raise your eyes up and focus on that spot. And notice that your awareness begins to spread out, and let it. We are opening up your peripheral vision. Notice that within a matter of moments, that even though you're looking at the spot, you can see the area around the spot. Notice your awareness spreading beyond that now. The area around it and all the way out into the corners of the room, so that it is in all of your awareness at the same time. From the very corners at the top of the room to the bottom of the room. And if you were to hold your arms out, you would be able to see your fingertips wiggling either side of you. From either side now, your awareness is spreading further deeper. You can see the spot in front of you and the area around you and right up to the corners of the room. And imagine now you are taking that awareness and wrapping it behind you so that you are aware of what is going on behind you while still looking at the spot in front of you. When you notice how good that feels, simply breathe that sense of awareness in. And now I'm going to invite you to squeeze your right thumb and ring finger together. Still looking at that dot, squeeze your thumb and ring finger together. Take a deep breath and let that peripheral and your awareness out and around you be at one with you now. And keeping that thumb and ring finger squeeze with your eyes on that dot, you can blink at any time. Know that all you need resource-wise, belief, confidence is available within you. All you could ever need is actually available at your fingertips, whether that is advice, whether that is support, simply love, or a hand to hold. You are open to and ready to make incredible positive changes in your life, all that feels aligned to you, your values, your higher self, and your future self. For yourself, for the highest good, and for the highest good of all involved. Simply say to yourself now, and so it is. And you can release your thumb and ring finger and just begin now, if you wish, have a little stretch. And welcome to this evening. Just going. There we go. So we are, for those of you that have done anchoring with me before, or anyone who is familiar with NLP, you will know how this works. And for anyone who doesn't, what we were simply doing then is when we are activating that learning state, we're using something called hack allow, which we touched on last week. And that is where we're integrating both hemispheres of the brain with the brain heart coherence. Hack allow, you on the end. It's a beautiful, almost a trance-like state, but it actually is what in a spiritual side of things would say it opens up a portal to the higher self. So when we are activating the third eye, we are opening our senses, opening up our awareness outside of our physical body and what we can see. From a more science-based point of view, which you guys know I love, and I believe you do as well, is when we raise our eyes up ever so slightly, it's backed with a lot of evidence that it activates not only the prefrontal cortex, but the learning parts of our brain. And when we expand that awareness round and anchor it in, what we're doing with the anchor is next week, we're going to really begin to build on this. So whenever you are moving forward, if you're about to make a phone call, if you're about to take action on something, if you're about to, depending on what your goal is, go towards the fridge, you can simply tap into this. Such a powerful, simple technique that no one knows. I actually did a talk on Monday evening. One of our wonderful members was here as well, and it was awesome. And no one saw, but I was squeezing. I was anchoring in my confidence. I was anchoring in my breathing. I was anchoring in my hack allow. So it's something you can really use moving forward. Tonight, we are going to be doing our coaching circle, and we're marking this tonight as an opportunity to really share. Beryl, you're all going to get a chance to come forward. This is a great thing. I know I mentioned it in the email that I popped out. So Pip, just in case, or if anyone missed it, I recommended just having a little reflect over the last few weeks or over the last 4 weeks. The goal which you were looking at last week, if there are any questions, if there is anything that you have felt bubbling up for you, there's something that you're like, do you know what? I don't know if this is related, but they tend to be really powerful questions. Where you're like, I don't know where this has come from, but this is going to be a really powerful place to share. And if you don't have anything particular to ask or share, if you're open to it, I'm just going to ask you a few questions. This isn't a Q&A for you to be answering anything, so don't worry. This is just a chance for you to share, and we can see if there's anything that we can work through together. And the beauty of it is as you get to listen to one another, take note, because there might be something which is coming up for you or somebody else that's like, I needed to hear that tonight. And as I shared in the email, this is actually one of people's favorite weeks, when we get to sort of make it a bit more of a sharing rather than just learn, implement, as I said up at the beginning. So what I will ask is for anyone else who joined us a little bit later, just pop a how are you today on a scale of 1 to 10 in the chat. And then what we're going to do is I'm just going to start by us all going around, and I'm just going to ask a random question, just so we can all get used to just saying a little hello and that to each other. So remove spotlight. There we are. View. Okay, so if anyone doesn't want to share, you can simply just give us a little thumbs up or pop a note in there. It's absolutely fine. You can simply just listen. But what I'm going to be doing is just going around, and we're going to start with the question is, what have you experienced in your life that you feel most proud of? What is something in your life that you feel proud of? And this doesn't have to be something like, oh, this is just something for you. What do you feel proud of? Now I can see Nath sat there like this. Now I know full well what kind of day you've had today. And it's like, I know you're thinking of probably the bigger picture as well. Do you want to go first?
Yeah, I would probably say, sorry everyone, I've got a bit of a cold, so I'm a little bit flued up. But I would probably say moving to Spain and just making a complete different lifestyle change, and whilst I was there, losing 6 stone in the process.
Wow.
So I think probably that for me.
Did yes, look at
Thank
Well
that.
you.
done.
Yeah, I knew I met you, Nathan. I didn't know that.
Yeah, so I moved back there in 2016, so it's a while ago now, but yeah.
Wow.
Wow.
That is
Caroline came to visit me as
incredible.
well whilst I was there, didn't you?
I did come and visit
Yeah,
you,
it was
and
amazing.
yeah, it was the most beautiful. What you and your partner did then was so brave. You're in the middle of nowhere as well, weren't you? You had a
Yeah.
little farm with little goats and chickens. There was a chicken called Reed. I've never felt like my life had been more complete. But that's incredible, absolutely incredible. And yeah, like well done. And thank you for sharing. Very
No worries.
quickly, we probably will come on to this a little bit, but Nath also had an interview today, didn't you?
I did, and it went well.
It
So
went very
fingers
well.
crossed, I find out tomorrow. So
So we'll be having a little chat about that
thank
after.
you.
But thank you, thank you.
No worries.
Natalie,
Oh,
hello.
hello. My brain's being racking, thinking, oh, what am I going to say? What am I going to say? I think the one that comes to mind is I moved to Manchester for love. I took the leap and moved somewhere new, new job, new everything. So that was, I only lived in North Wales, so it's not that far away, but it was a big thing for me, having never lived away from home. So yeah, I think taking a chance, and yeah, now I've been very happy.
Incredible. Can I very quickly ask, because you and Nath have got quite a similar thing with that one then, when you say you took that chance, how did that feel during and then after once you'd done it?
I think before, quite a bit of turmoil, to be honest,
Yeah.
because it was quite scary. There's a bit of guilt there, leaving all elder family members behind and things like that. So it took me a long time. It was kind of feel the fear and do it anyway. And I wasn't sure. So it was like taking a chance. But yeah, it worked out well. A lot of growth in that process. Yeah, so it was a bit scary, but when I look back, I'm quite proud that I did that and hit ended.
Amazing. Oh, amazing. I think it's just so powerful to be able to hear how you felt before and then it was worth that after.
Yes.
And like you said, the growth came from it. Fantastic. Pip, do you want to share?
Hello.
Hello.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Good. There's a few things, but I'm going to go right back and share about a decision I made to go to live in Canada for a year when I was 22 on my own.
Wow.
Which was like a really big thing. I've always wanted to go. I had some family there. And so after I finished uni, I just set off and went and spent a whole year doing various different things. And I have to say, it was probably one of the best years of my life in terms of the amount of memories that I built. It wasn't always easy, but it was really brave. Yeah. So I'm really proud of myself for taking that step that I did then and having such wonderful experiences. And those have really helped influence me and my life. It's so long ago now, but you know, it's still there. I'm still proud of it.
That's incredible. And for yourself as well, how did you feel before? Was it just pure excitement? Was there that?
No, it was, well, I mean, it's a while ago, I say, it's not recent. So, but yeah, of course, apprehension, of course. But I suppose, especially being only 22, you don't have as much fear, do you? So it's easier in that sense. You kind of do just go for it. But yeah, I'm proud because it was before mobile phones, so nobody could ring me. Nobody could ring me. And so once a week, I'd have a reverse charged phone call with my mum in a youth hostel. So I really, really was on my own, you know. So if you think about that, yeah.
Gosh, that's incredible. And what we can take from the three, and I think there might be a little bit of a theme with these ones as well, is that apprehension or something before doing what you're proud of, and then the impact that it has. Thank you so much for sharing that. I love that. I didn't know that. Thank you. And Sandra.
Yeah. Can you hear me?
I can't. I've just seen your question on there.
I can see the top bit. I can't see the bottom. What does it say?
It says,
Oh, my day. Oh, got it. Yeah.
today is my day.
Oh, right. Okay, that's right. Yeah. My thing was when I was about 20, I did a parachute jump, and I'd never been in an aeroplane, so it was quite something to do it. But it was a typical thing. There was this lad that I fancied like mad, and he was doing it. Go and do that, and I did, and I've still got the picture of me coming out. So.
That is like seriously brave. And on before you did that,
Yeah.
Same question, how were you feeling? And then how did you feel after?
Well, I think I was not as nervous as I could have been, because I hadn't been in a plane before. I didn't know what to expect. So it was like, the first time I went in the plane and then jumped out of it. So yeah, well, that's what you do.
Chris's face.
Yeah, well, yeah, I wouldn't do that now, but
It's incredible, and I bet it was adrenaline fueled.
Well, I'm sure it was, yeah. And I mean, I enjoyed it because I went and did it again. I think I've done it 3 times.
Gosh, that is so cool. Thank you for sharing that.
You're welcome.
Love. Chris, what's come to your mind?
I'm really struggling with this one, I have to say. I don't know. I'm really struggling to. I mean, everybody's is such big things as well. So
hasn't got to be the key thing here. And I was almost thinking like this will come up. Comparison. If nobody else would have shared and I would have asked you first, what would you have said?
Bringing my 2 boys up.
Yeah.
To the men they are today.
Thank you.
To be corny.
Yes. And how old are they now?
32 and 34.
Wow. 32 and 34. And when you first had them, so like that first year, when you were in that newborn and all of that kind of stage, how are you feeling to like how you feel now?
I suppose I wouldn't say I was anxious. I was just happy. And a lot of people say, oh, they were scared, or I was only young. I was only 19 when I had one, the first Matt. So yeah, just anxious. I beat myself up about a lot, looking back at it and thinking, oh, I should have done better at this, I should have done better at that. And
right.
But then actually, if you pin me down, I would say, yeah, I am proud that they've both grown up. They've both got married. One's got a daughter. They both own their own houses. So must do something right.
Absolutely. And that in itself, and just on that, so what we will be doing like throughout this, so thank you so much for sharing that. Zoe, I know you, Zoe, bless her, she's got a migraine. So if you do want to, feel free to just have a little pop a comment in the chat. I also get that. I think you're in bed, probably in a blacked out room, just having a little bit of a listen and catching up properly on replay. If you do wish to share, please do. But what we're going to be doing throughout is asking little key questions and just sort of taking from each other. And if anyone else has any questions to jump in and ask as well, please feel free to go for it. So with that, it's really important for us to be able to see that when we reflect back at times on when we're most proud, it tends to be when we've taken a chance on ourselves, whether that is taking our chances as a mother, in career, when it comes to travel, when it comes to just making a complete change in our lives. And for some, it might be being here tonight. Like you may be in a place where you're like, okay, I'm really investing in myself now. And it's so important along the way to keep checking in and saying like, what can I be proud of now? The mind loves that positive reinforcement. You guys know I always say that. So what we're going to be doing now is, if you can get your week 4 workbooks out, and we're just going to have a reflect back. starting to have a little reflect back, if you've got them there, on what you set your goal as. And I know I said this last week, this goal is not going to be the be all end all. It is about who you are becoming along the way. And we are going to keep checking in to make sure that it's aligned, to make sure that it's what you want. Because sometimes we tend to set a goal and then go, hang on a minute. And then we're off in a completely different direction. We're like, okay, I get it. I'm having my breakthroughs. I feel like this is it. So the thing here is, don't get too hung up on the goal if you aren't crystal clear on one. If you are crystal clear on one, freaking grab hold of it by the cojones and we're going to run with it. So what I'm going to recommend that you do now is have a little flick through back to where we were looking at the SMART goals. And just take a minute to just have a little flick through and just refresh your mind and have that check-in. How does it feel now your mind's had time to absorb? Now you've had time to digest. It might not be consciously you've sat down this week and gone, but in the back of your mind, your reticular activating system is starting to go, okay, this seems to be something that's important. How do we start to align to this? And we're just going to have a little sort of check-in physically yourself with how that feels. And if that still feels right and aligned, or if there's anything else you want to elaborate on, let me just bring up for a moment. Here we are. So you can see again there the SMART. So I know for some people you got all the way through this. If you didn't, now is your chance to start to have a little bit more of a think as I invite you on to just have a bit of a share. This can be about your goal. It might be something like personal going on that you feel might be blocking. You might be wanting to get clarity on a particular thing. So feel free to just sort of share whereabouts you feel you are with your goal. If you want to do that in the chat, then I can, where's that gone? It's up here. Then I can just sort of see if you were to say, okay, I am clear on this part up to here. If you're like, nailed it, worked through it. No worries at all, Nath. So where would you say you are? Are you clear? Do you feel like it's time bound, it's actionable? And remember what that extra T on the end is, and that is about trusting the process. And if we were to be adding that trusting the process, where would you say that's a question I'm going to be asking? So start to have a little thing. Where are you at with that? I have some clarity, but it feels too big. Okay, so I'm just going to stop sharing for a moment. Nat, do you mind if I just bring you on and we get started with awesome?
Yeah.
So
When I started the program, my initial kind of where I wanted to look at was career-wise. But when I did the circle, what do we call it? The Wheel of Life. When I scored it, actually, it was more health things that were more pressing. So my goal, I've been in a bit of a rut with my nutrition, exercise, been quite stressed on a course and things like that. So when I did that, I realized actually it's probably the health side of things that I need to work on. So my goal was, I've kind of set myself a 12-week challenge, if you like, which I've already started about a week, 10 days ago, around kind of trying to exercise a couple of times a week, about doing a certain amount of steps. Also, I had a test done on like an anti-allergy, or I don't know what you call it, intolerance test, and it came back that I had a high activity or reaction to cow's milk and yeast, I think it was. So ages ago, so I've been putting off trying this elimination diet, if you like. So that was part of the goal. So it's about exercise, nutrition, and just getting myself into a better routine generally with those things. So it's quite a big goal. So I need to trim it down, and I don't know which path to focus on, essentially.
Okay.
But in my mind, I'm thinking I want to kind of do a 12-week kind of focus and try and get on with some of these things.
That's awesome. So ideally, we've got that 12-week challenge. Would you agree then with it being health? I know a few other people's actually are health, that it's a lifestyle change.
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
So is the 12-week, does that almost feel like a kickstart kind of?
Kickstart. That's what I've called it, kickstart to wellness.
Yes, I like this. Document it. And the reason I've just said that is from what you've shared, from when you've emailed, your goal was around that possible career change, was around the health, the nutrition. So when it comes to you making a transformation, a fantastic place to be able to, depending if you want to go self-employed or anything like that, is to be able to turn around to somebody else and say, I can hold your hand to help you get from where you are to here, and here's how I did it.
Yeah.
So if it helps you, that might actually be the motivation to be like, okay, I'm going to do this for me. And then imagine if I was to go on and help one other person do the same thing.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
sounds good.
The 12 well-being challenge, I love that. Feel free to just make notes. I'm making little notes as well, just so we can always refer back to it in the coming weeks. The 12-week challenge, how will you be able to measure that in 12 weeks? How do you want to feel?
How to focus it? So I've got a little board on my fridge, so I think I'm on day 10 out of 84 or something, and I've got like little quotes on there, and then I'm tracking, or I'm writing down how many times I'm putting it in my diary of when I should exercise, because I haven't really been planning it into my week. And then I've got like a Fitbit, so I can count my steps and things. So there's ways of measuring that. I'm already wavering on the cow's milk and the yeast. I'm thinking, do I really need to do this? Do I really need to eliminate? So I'm trying to talk myself out of doing that bit, but I haven't swayed on that yet. So in terms of measuring, I've got my Fitbit, I've got my diary, I'm doing like a countdown on my fridge, and I think there's anything else. No, I think that's it.
Okay, so do you mind if we just touch on the allergy side, because I don't know if this could resonate with other people as well. So if it's come up, it's such a common thing to have a cow's milk allergy. One of the reasons being, and the yeast slightly different, but with the cow's milk, it's large proteins for our human body to digest. So from the body point of view, the cow's milk, it just naturally is. Some humans can just tolerate, and our bodies are like, yes, I can do it. The other thing with dairy, and in particular the cow's milk dairy, is it can act as it builds quite a bit of mucus within the body. And are you happy for me to share the other goal which you mentioned?
Yeah, I can't remember which one. I think when we did that writing, I was like, kept going for ages and ages.
Was it flow around the family?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
So I didn't. Happy to. I'm trying. Been trying for a baby for some time. So that's another driving force for trying to get myself in as best condition as I can.
Absolutely. Okay, I've noted down. I'm making little thingies. You've said the word try 3 times. So we know this because we've worked together. Let's like kick that now.
Yeah.
And even just that language and that intention, just I am doing, I'm gonna, I can, I will, I am. And the cow's milk, if we see that that can build mucus, it builds mucus in the throat, in particular around the chest. So people with asthma, when they eliminate dairy from their diet, it has huge impact. And if we imagine it from a mucus point of view, what a word, but let's go there. It can also impact our digestive and our reproductive system. If we imagine how many years so many of us have been ingesting dairy. So if we were to maybe set a challenge there, if it feels right for you, can we just bash this out then in case this resonates with anyone else? But pop in the chat if you have any alternatives to dairy. I'm going to hold my hands up and say oat milk, the way forward. Yeah, I know Nave's the same. Anyone want to share anything on that?
I've been trying to do very similar.
Okay, I thought so.
And I did buy oat milk the other day and put it in my tea, but it tasted like tea mixed with porridge.
Okay, little top tip then. You can get soy milk that is like made for tea. You can get specific ones.
I've tried that. It's got my copper into it, and it does taste exactly like milk, but it tastes like full cream milk. So I did wonder about. So yeah, so I've sort of just switched drinks.
Oh, okay. Then that's not the only thing I would ask is, are you likely to go back and want to crave a cup of tea and then go back to the milk?
Probably.
Right. So the goal could be to start to have a look at experimenting, trying different milk alternatives, looking on forums what other people have recommended. Start to surround yourself with people. There's loads of Facebook groups for it could be vegan. There's a vegan Macclesfield group for anyone who is local. There is a vegan Mac group. Wow. It's really good. Yeah. They often give, and you haven't got to be from Mac, you can join, I'm sure. Lots of people from Bollington post on there as well. Pip shared, my daughter is vegan for 18 months. Amazing. We use soy milk. Yeah. Definitely get used to it over time. At first, I was literally like, but just like anything, you can totally retrain your taste buds.
You do retrain them, because I did it for about 6 months going on to soya milk, and I think at first it doesn't taste very good, but then if you do taste milk again, it tastes really sweet. It's got quite a lot of sugar in it, so you don't,
I like hazelnut milk for coffee too. That's good.
What's that one is?
Hazelnut milk. I don't think it'd be any good in tea, maybe, but in coffee it's really good too. Yeah.
Because you can't use soya in coffee. You need something else. It
goes a bit curdly.
Yeah.
And almond as well.
Yeah, avoid almond and soya in coffee in particular. It does curdle.
Right.
Unless you like a curdled coffee. Some people but those I would recommend. And another one, if we were to look at it from a spiritual side, I'd kick myself if we didn't talk about this. There has been links. So if we were to look from a spiritual point of view, our third eye is our intuition, it's our higher self, it's our access to source, let's say. When we are ingesting in particular dairy, it can what they call calcify the pineal. It has a direct link with it. What is it that's in water? Chlorine and fluoride. Fluoride, sorry, that was the two words together then, wasn't it? Fluoride in tap water can impact our pineal gland, and dairy can as well. So that's why for some people, especially if they have quite a high dairy diet, they can feel a little bit foggy-headed. We tend to carry excess weight because the body simply can't break down. And if we were to imagine 20 years of ingesting dairy when the proteins are naturally too big for us, because we're human, it's made for baby cows basically, and as they grow up it's meant to beef them up, then our body will very gradually, it's like trying to put something through a sieve that's just that bit too big. Over time it does build up. Some people they just don't have the effects. If you are feeling effects, or if you've come up with a tolerance, it could be one of the biggest changes for your health. IBS, respiratory system, and arthritis, joints, the swelling because of the buildup of toxins. So I think that was a really powerful one. So if we were to, how are you feeling now then, Nat, about?
Oh, thank you for all the tips. I think linking it as well, I kind of, well, not forgotten, but when you linked it to a big goal of mine, obviously, is when I have a baby. I'll say when rather than try. If I think about is reminding myself of that goal, because when I think of that, I think that's no problem, I don't need to have it. But it's like you forget sometimes when you live in day to day.
Absolutely. And if everyone's up for it, I'm going to start a thread this week in the group. I've just made a note, the no dairy thread. So everyone can share their favorite meals, their favorite milks, their favorite alternatives and all sorts, and pages and stuff. Because as I shared, it's powerful for all of us to consider, if not already. So
thank you.
Wonderful. You're very, very welcome. On that, just because it's quite a similar topic, I'm just going to jump to Chris, if that's okay. Anything else, anything which you would like to share, any questions or anything around yours?
I mean, again, mine's health, and it was the bigger picture. And if you remember last week, we spoke because I was struggling to narrow that down.
Yes.
And I mentioned that I thought sugar was aggravating my arthritis. But I didn't actually mention milk, but that was also something else I was looking at, dairy.
Right, okay.
I actually started a few weeks ago. I've always been a cereal lover from being a child. I have a bowl of cereal in the morning and a bowl of cereal for supper.
Yeah.
Every day. Very rare I would not have. And I just stopped it. Wow. So that was the first thing I put out. So I thought, I can cut that out before my drinks. So I stopped the cereal and had toast instead.
Yeah.
And after about 3 weeks, I'd got no bread, and I thought, I'll just have a bowl of cornflakes. And it absolutely slayed me and put me on the settee for an afternoon.
Wow.
I had a bad stomach. It set my IBS off again, which had been fine for about 3 weeks. And just like you just said, the fogginess, the tiredness, absolutely put me on my back.
So that you've basically done the experiment yourself, haven't you? So
yeah.
In a way, as much as it's tough having that like day on the sofa, but how powerful that you now know that.
So it's trying to go everything you look at, and that'd be really useful to have that thread, because it's like in the shops, I'm looking at things and thinking I can cut. It isn't just cutting the milk out, is it? It's like dairy's in absolutely everything. So there's so many things.
It is, and I can confidently say now, and I'm sure Pip will say, and Nath as well, that there are so many alternatives now, that it's the RAS, the moment you start to activate it, to look for, because what you can tend to go is, there's bloody milk, there's milk in everything. And the next thing your eyes are finding milk in everything. Whereas when you say there's so many alternatives, boom.
There has been an explosion in the past year of vegan availability.
Really
massively,
absolutely. So let's switch the mindset.
So going back to my actual goal last week, we talked about reducing the sugar.
Yeah.
So I stopped having the sugar in my drinks, and tried to cut back processed foods and things that have got sugar in. So stepped away from them. I think I said biscuits was a major one. And your idea was brilliant. And it was really weird, because you'd said, if you think of something else you can do, if you're going for the biscuits.
Yeah.
And I'd already thought, wow, it sort of just come to me. I thought, right, I'll go and walk around a lap of the garden. It's only a small garden, but I'll go and do a lap of the garden to break the cycle. Whilst I was on the thing last week, while we were on the call last week, hubby had gone out and he came back with a new fit watch for me. So obviously that sort of coincided with increasing the steps and
Wow.
So yeah, it was a bit of a light bulb, but I put on the chat just that my goal felt too easy because I managed to do it. But actually, listening to Nat, thank you for sharing, because that's really helped me focus on a bit bigger picture and look at the milk as well.
Amazing. So if we were to look at that being measurable, how will you know in yourself, physically, mentally, spiritually, environmentally?
Oh, I've been scribbling Nat's idea down of the tracker on the fridge.
Amazing.
I think the other one is planning the exercise. So I've started going swimming now, so I won't be swimming twice a week. This week's been a bit of a funny one with being hot to go out on the bike.
So those are the action steps. Is there a time scale where you're going to be like, because what we're looking for here is, so say, for example, just going back to Nat, in 12 weeks time, we will know, like, we're going to keep this cohort group open. Nat's going to be like, boom. And we're going to really be focusing on raising that vibration to almost imagine that being a reality now and stepping into that and living that. So we have that almost end thing of, this is how I feel, this is the result. How's that going to be for you when you have, or I know it's a long-term thing, isn't it, with health, but can you start to create a picture in your mind of, so you can say, ladies, gents, freaking on this, I've done it. I've reached that first goal.
I've actually seen a arthritis challenge for cycling so many miles in August. So I did think about setting a target for that, to cycle probably 30 miles in August. So I thought about doing that. Obviously, I've got Nat's ideas are great about the step, and I like the idea of the sort of 12-week thing.
Fab. So
weight-wise, obviously, I can set a goal. Should you set a goal for losing weight, or because it's about being healthier more than the pounds? Although, having said that, I have lost 2 kilos this week from not having the biscuits.
Well, see that, yes, amazing.
It's amazing.
So when it comes to the weight side of things, I get asked this so much. If we were only measuring our self-worth, and I will only feel good when I've achieved this weight, not a healthy goal, because it's an away goal.
And that's why I avoid doing that.
Yeah. But if we were to look at what we would call like the byproduct goal, then that could be worth putting like a side note of the bonus or a benefit, or because that naturally can help health, it can help energy more than anything. So it's not like that club approach where it's like, right, how much do you want to lose by next week kind of thing. This is, how do you want to feel, what do you want to be taking action on, and then what could that result in, and that also being a bit of a driver. Does that help?
I mean, the biggest goal is, but like I say, it's how you measure it, is feeling healthier and being in less pain.
Right.
Pain free would be brilliant, but less pain.
Less pain. So, and we can all do this if there's something in your life that you want less of, and pain is a really good example here. So Chris, try this. If you were to measure now and write down on a scale of 1 to 10 your level of pain on an average day, and then your level of pain on a flare day.
Okay.
And then you can then start to set a goal that, say, I don't know, you want, because you said then, oh, I'd love to be pain free. And then you kind of laughed as if to say, wouldn't that be good? Whereas actually, if you were to set that intention, can you imagine the energy and the intention and the belief that will go behind that? Is your goal. You might want to put a 0 and a 3. You might want to put a 1 and a 5, but let's see if we can look at from where you are on an average day to let's call it, do you mind if I call it like a flare day? I know you mentioned.
No, that's fine.
And then bring that down the scale. What could that goal be, and what could that goal be?
Yeah.
And then ideally we want to be getting rid of this flare. Okay, I'm going to leave you to have a little bit
That's
of
great, thanks.
that. Wonderful. I'm going to move to Sandra, if that's okay, just because are you happy to share? Because I know your goal's quite similar, isn't it?
I don't know, because I can't remember what my goal was now. I know
I'm like,
sorry. I was going to duck out, but I'm happy to.
Yeah, I mean, if anything comes to your mind now, if you may have been inspired by something, or if you want to have a little bit of a reflect over the next week, then absolutely feel free to. But has anything come to you this session that maybe you're like, actually, I like the sound of that, or
I do like the sound of the vegan eating and the use of milk and things like that, because Becca's got, my daughter's got skin allergies from milk and things like that, so I thought, well, I'll support her. I can do that as well.
Okay, and if I remember right, do correct me if I'm wrong, have a little look back. I feel like yours was around health. I'm not sure whether that was
I remember you said something, but I can't think of it.
So that could be, so when we've got a goal, so just like Nat said, actually, as soon as I think this isn't just about myself, it's about a family, boom, all of a sudden there's just another layer of what we would call like the why factor, is like, why am I doing this? And when we can add that layer where it's outside of ourselves, there's even more of a pull to do it. So that is another thing to start to think whenever you're checking in with your goal. For me, when I'm having one of those days where it's like, oh, I don't know what to do here, when I think of the long-term vision, it's like, I want to help people, and I want to build a legacy for my boys. I want to build something for them to say, yes, this is something I can see a vision for myself, or I'm proud of that. The idea of them being proud is like, okay, get your butt in gear.
Yeah.
So that why, so for you, Sandra, that might be if you can then lead by example and be like, do you know what, let's do this together.
Yeah.
And with the skin, if anyone does struggle or has a loved one who struggles with any skin allergies, use that scale of 1 to 10 with on an average day, on a flare day, and then what's the goal? And rather than saying like, okay, I've had cheese, how am I feeling? We can then focus too much on what we can have, what we can't have, what we can have. And we keep in these mental lists of tomatoes are good, but this isn't. Where actually, if we keep track of what we're eating, very important, because it's easy to forget what is good and what isn't good for, but where am I on that scale? After I've eaten this, rather than it just being good or bad, over the next few days, how am I feeling? What's my energy like? And then you can really sort of keep track from there. So does that feel good, Sandra?
Yeah, that's great. Thank you. Yeah.
Awesome, awesome, awesome. Pip, I'm going to come to you next.
yeah, I've got, which is very me, more than one goal.
Yes, I love.
But also last week wasn't great for me because I'd not had a good day. So, and I didn't have the paperwork in front of me. So I've only actually looked at the paperwork this morning for last
That's okay.
week. So I think it's interesting listening to everybody, because I can't imagine anybody hasn't got a health goal of some form or another, and I definitely do as well. So I would like to be fitter and have more strength. So I've been considering, going back to the gym, which I haven't been to for ages. I'm doing a walking challenge in September. I'm walking the Brecon Beacons, which is a big one. So I need to get back into my walking for that. In a day, 26 miles. Yeah, it's a biggie. Wow. And I've been training lots. It was actually meant to be at the beginning of this month, but it was postponed because of COVID. So, and I've kind of taken my foot off the gas, and I can feel it. Even like just for 6 weeks of not walking regularly, I can feel it. So I need to get back into that, and that would be really good. So I'd really like to focus a goal around that. But initially I came to this wanting to focus a goal around how to be clear of my next career move. Yeah. So that's my other one as well. And I've got lots of ideas, but it's more about actually being clear about what I'm going to do about that. And I have work until September. So I'm looking to my time scale wise is, what will I do after September?
Are you open to sharing any ideas that you have?
Well, I'm not sure I am at the moment. I need to spend a bit more time on it. Yeah, this is a bit too soon for me because I didn't really spend the time last week that I should have done.
No, absolutely fine.
So yeah, so I'm quite happy to focus on the health side, because it is definitely another area that I'd like to improve.
Fantastic. What I will say, and just make a quick little post-it note, is I'm going to be opening up my diary to start to take the one-to-one sessions. So we've got 6 months. So Pip, that might be a really powerful breakthrough session where we focus on the more of the career side.
Yes, I think that might be the case, Caroline. Yeah.
That's absolutely fine. And that's the same for everyone as well. And I will say, when it comes to a health goal, the reason why it's so powerful is your health underpins everything. When you have got more energy, strength, clarity, your brain isn't foggy, and we're feeling good, and we're taking action on something that's empowering, we start to feel good. We start to feel more confident. We start to think, actually, do you know what, that work idea? Okay, I could do that. I might try that.
It does flow. It does flow from it. Yeah.
It flows. So you mentioned the strength, and there was another word which you mentioned in regards to health for yourself. What was that again?
I can't remember.
How you would measure it. You said I would feel energy.
Yes, probably. Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, obviously, it's also linked to having a better diet and losing weight as well. But that isn't my main goal. I want that from it, but my goal is to have fitness and strength. Yeah, because I have some back problems, and I have a dodgy knee and all that. So it's kind of starting to get old now, crack up a bit. So I need to focus on that strength building. Yeah.
And how do you envision yourself building that strength? You mentioned the gym.
Yeah, there's a gym that's about literally it's about 7 minutes walk away that has a pool, and they've got an offer on. So I've been looking at it all week going, oh, shall I? And I shall, I think.
I shall.
Yeah. I want to do the kind of 7 o'clock in the morning slot, before the day starts, because you feel like you've done something then, don't you? If you do something early in the day, you already feel like you've achieved before the people have even hit their desks, and that always feels good.
Absolutely. Okay, so is that something you feel that was quite a shall I, shan't I shall? Is that an executive decision, and it's a goal that you're going to be setting?
If they haven't got the offer anymore, I might not, we'll see.
I would recommend that you jump straight on after this and then pop it in the group and then let us know. But that sounds really, really good. And I think maybe starting with that foundation of the health, the beautiful thing about going to the gym or walking more, going on the bike, swimming, is having that mind space. You can't, I'm going to recommend, don't have your phone with you, especially swimming, but it just gives you that chance where you don't have any distractions.
Yeah, I do that quite a bit. I was up at 5 one day last week. It's so wonderful being up at 5 o'clock and walking. There's nobody around. It's wonderful. It's really lovely. Taking in nature. I've got lovely parks nearby here. So, I'm good at that, taking in nature and not, noticing and appreciating that. I think so that'll come naturally, but the strength building I'm going to have to work on. That's an additional thing. So, but yeah.
Fantastic. And once I'm going to be very thingy with the language, like once you enroll, and I presume you tend to have like an induction, don't you, with the gyms these days?
Yeah.
Maybe see if there is something there that either you could have someone help you set, or yourself to make that, because it might be a strength, or it might be a feeling of when you wake up in the morning, you're like, I feel strong, I feel grounded. It might be like an internal core strength. But see if you can make that measurable with that kind of date in mind, to be able to sort of keep checking in with yourself.
Yeah.
And then once you reach that, and this is the same for all of us, when we reach that goal, and this is where goal setting can get a bit blah, 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 a bit blur lined, is it's time to just simply set another goal. A lot of people hit the goal and then go, oh, wow, that feels good. We want to be hitting that goal. And that doesn't then mean it's this like, next mountain. But when you become that person, it's the very same as you having that drive and motivation when you're this person. So it's simply the next organic step is to keep growing. And one thing I really hope from this program is it gives you the tools, the techniques to, in a year, 5 years time, to go, oh, I remember this, I'm going to use this, I'm going to tap into using my awareness, I'm going to tap into the inner child. We're going to be doing cutting the cords. I know a lot of you have done cutting the cords before, but I'm going to make that available soon. So you can keep going, yes, I can do this for another goal. So you've got that toolkit. So fantastic. Thank you for sharing, Pip. Nath.
I'm a bit like Pip. I can't make my mind up between two goals, so I think I'm just going to go with two.
Okay.
Health is definitely one of them. So it wasn't like, so when I was doing this last week, I was thinking more so in regards to finances. So I'm really on the fence. So I think finances is probably going to take priority just for now, because I've just had the moment of realization that I've been now back at my parents for 2.5 years since I split up with my ex. And even if I'd have just put £400 a month away out of my wages to save, I'd have like £12,000 now. Whereas because I was in a controlling relationship and didn't get a chance to spend money on myself, all I've done for the past 2.5 years is blow all my wages on buying whatever I want to buy and not putting anything away. And I've kind of always just relied on a safety net of having an inheritance somewhere, and not necessarily thinking, oh, well, it would be good to have some money in the bank that I can access straight away if I need to. So I think for that one, it's just a bit of a lifestyle change, and just in regards to improving my spending habits, because I am quite impulsive with how I spend. And I do take things to the extreme and get a little bit excessive with things. So that's definitely one area. Like I said, even £400, because if I was living in my own place, it would probably be a minimum of £700-800 a month. So that would just be half of what I would be paying if I was living elsewhere anyway.
So can I ask a question? Is £400, if that's the figure which you would be deciding on as a goal, is that doable for you right now?
Yeah, because I mean, I want to move out anyway, so it'd be like even cheaper than moving out. So I don't understand why I haven't done it already.
This is good. This is so good. And can you share, there's a name of an app, a money app that you've told me about, that now on reflection, I think could actually really benefit you for this goal?
So Monzo is the app. Is that the one we're talking about? Yeah.
Yes, I remember.
Yeah, okay. So essentially they allow you to, rather than just opening up like different savings accounts and having like individual account numbers and different cards for all that, you can have what they call saving pots. And say you go to the shop and you get a meal deal and it's £3.50, they will round the 50p up and put it into one of your saving pots for you. So they'll just keep rounding it up. So I think I've had my account now for like 18 months, and I think they round up about £600-700 worth of things just from spending on my card and stuff. So that's really going to help if I actually put it to use. What I set out to do is to put the roundup back into my current account, so I could just keep spending.
I didn't know if you were going to share that bit.
I wasn't going to share that, but I did.
It's honest though, because that's the difference, isn't it, between being in the mindset of, oh, I've got 600 quid now, boom, back into my account, or being really smart with it and being like 600 quid towards this.
Yeah, exactly. And it was just so weird because the penny dropped whilst we were all talking. I was sat and I was like, oh my God, like what have I been doing? But then on my health one, going back to say 8 or 9 months ago, like I was obsessive about the amount of steps I was doing, to the point where like I wouldn't settle if I done less than 10,000. Whereas now I probably average about 7,000 or 8,000 a day, which is fine. But when I go and socialise and do things at the weekends, it dips down to 4,000, and I just kind of leave it as it is and be like, oh, it's okay. I've shortened my dog walks that I usually go on, and I've got a bit lazy with it. But it also made me think that being in Spain and losing all that weight and stuff, I'm just kind of floating around in this even ground. I'm putting weight on, I'm losing it, and there's no real maintenance happening, and it's kind of getting on my nerves a bit because I work really hard to get the weight off. Now I'm just kind of abusing my body and just letting things go as they are, rather than actually taking the conscious effort to make an effort and to do 10,000 steps. And something else that I wasn't going to share, which Caroline knows all about as well. I've got a weird relationship with vegetables. So I'm going to work on that as well, because so what I mean by a weird relationship, just to clarify.
Yeah, you probably better explain that one, Nathan.
Yeah, I just realised. So I can only eat vegetables if they're blended up in a soup. It's something about the textures which I just can't get over, in regards to, like, I couldn't just have a carrot or an onion on my plate. It'd have to be, I really love the flavours of them, but there's something about the textures which I just can't handle. So it's almost like baby food, but I can have it and it's fine. So I want to actually just be able to go and have a Sunday dinner with carrots on my plate and whatever.
Again, the one-to-one session, if you want to, that is something that we could work on, because there's lots within the Master NLP. I think we briefly spoke about this, with it linking back to childhood and there being an incident at the table. So we could have a look, it just came to my mind then, we could have a look at using, whether it's timeline or something, to work on that. This is the beautiful thing. So start to have a think about one-to-ones just whilst we're on that again. I'll be putting a link into the group. You can book in anytime now, or you can book in up to 6 months. But just to come back around to Nath, on that point, sorry guys, was about NLP and timelines. So if there is something, a phobia, a fear, or something which you want to get rid of, jump on that as well in the session. If you let me know ahead of it, then we can bring it all together. So Nath, if you were to reiterate what your goals are, what would they be?
Improve spending habits, naturally save some money.
How much money?
I'm going to set a goal of 10 grand.
Amazing. By when?
I'm going to say by...
Try not to have a think of when the brain pops one up. Have a little think about the 10 grand, how much you could afford each month to put away. So it might be that you use a calculator after, or have a little bit of a math play now. But let's get really clear on that. It's such a powerful goal. And is anyone else downloading Monzo after, if you've not already?
I have Moneybox, which does the same thing.
Moneybox.
I think Starling does the same as well. Someone else told me about that one.
Starling, I have that one as well.
Oh, this is so cool. No idea.
So if I put, say, for example, just randomly worked out £10,000 over 18 months would work out as angel numbers at 555. So if I was to put 555 away every month just for 18 months, that would be £10,000 then. That would be easily achievable. It'd just mean I'd stop spending money on ridiculous things which I don't need anymore, which would be absolutely fine to do. And not only that, but in 18 months' time, I would have had my inheritance. I'd be looking to buy my own place then. So it would just be additional cash for getting all that stuff sorted and out the way with, and not having to worry as much.
Powerful. And the health, would you agree again that as you're focusing on this goal, you can consciously begin to work with going back to what you know has worked for you before your steps?
Yeah, for sure. And not only that, but just like Pip said, I have thought about joining the gym, but I'm going to do something, not necessarily gym, because I just don't have the motivation to go. I think I could find it, but I think I'm going to do some other form of exercise, potentially cycling or something like that, because I enjoyed that as well. So because I rely too much on my steps, and because I work from home and finish at 6 o'clock, I've got from 6 o'clock onwards to go and do my steps, and I've got to shower, eat tea, do everything else in the meantime as well. So I just find it difficult to be able to actually utilize that. If I was to be able to, say, wake up at, say, 6 or 5 or 6 a.m. and go on a big walk up Nipersley or something, it'd be amazing, but it's just not realistic to get up at that time. And not for me.
Every day.
It isn't realistic if we don't choose it to be. It could be if the goal is burning enough. It is, so isn't it? So never write it off completely, but they're really powerful goals. And what I'm going to ask lastly is, who has a Fitbit or a thing which monitors their steps? Everyone has one. Sandra, do you have one?
No, I haven't got one, but I am thinking I should get one.
Okay. What I'm
You
thinking.
do it on your phone as
I was
well.
going to say
though.
your
You have your
iPhone
phone
or
with you. That's what I use.
I don't have an iPhone. I've only got an Android.
I think they do it as well. They should do.
Oh, okay, right.
Yeah, well,
Like
let's
a built-in app for the phone, yeah.
Yeah,
Mhm.
fantastic. I am very inspired as well, and I'm totally going to jump on the 10,000. I'm going to charge my Fitbit because I let it die about 3 months ago, and I've not repaired it since, randomly stopped. So, who wants to do a step challenge? Just something that we can do together, maybe?
Yeah,
Yeah,
definitely.
yeah.
We up for that?
Yeah,
Yes.
for sure. Just before I completely forget, if you're going to open that vegan thread up, I'll put some of the recipes on for some of the vegan cakes that I bake as well.
Yes. And let's say, because we're not all too far from each other, when we get together, Nathan will bake vegan cakes.
Yeah, no, I will.
No, that sounds fantastic. Thank you. That would be really cool. So I'm going to be popping those threads and the bits and bobs into the group tomorrow, just to have a little reflect on this evening. How are we all feeling? Has it been of benefit?
Yeah, good.
Right. Good.
Yeah.
Right.
Good.
It's an exciting energy all of a sudden to be like, okay, let's get on and do it, sort of thing.
Yeah, and I think it's cool that everyone's goal, as much as you've got your own separate ones for some people, there's that underpinning of the foundation of the health for everyone. How cool is that? So well done. So good to see you. I'm going to be uploading the recording again tomorrow. So if there's anything you need to look back on, there will be a new meditation as well. And it's going to be around taking fearless action. So if there's something that you have just been meaning to do, you can have a little listen to this meditation in the morning. I'm going to be adding it into the thread that's already got the ones on and on the document as well. So is there anything else before we say our goodbyes for tonight?
I just wanted to say one thing about the steps.
What
I found was when I set myself 10,000 a day and I didn't do it, I kind of beat myself up about it. So what I found was if I do like 70,000 over a week, because sometimes on a weekend we might do more and we're a bit more active. Like today I work from home and I've hardly moved, but I'll make up for it on the weekend. So that's just me personally. I tend to like beat myself up if I've not done it, and then I'm like, oh. So that might be an idea.
Cracking idea. I personally am going to take that on as well. So thank you so much for sharing that. So for some people, it might be that minimum of X amount per day. That's a really cool idea, just to kind of, like you said, take the pressure off yourself that you're not going, right, I'll start again Monday.
That's me.
Yeah, but that's such a great way to begin to change that. So fantastic. Well, thank you. It's been blinking wonderful to see you all tonight. I'll share the meditation tonight in case you want to listen to it in the morning, and then the rest will all be uploaded tomorrow. Anything in the meantime, and I mean anything, just pop it into the group, any questions, and I will answer as we go throughout the week, and then ready for next week.
Nice to see you all.
Thank
Take
you,
care.
Kaz.
Next week.
Have a good week.
Yeah.
You too.
Bye, you too.
Bye bye.